We are bringing our newsroom to a community near you tonight. CP24 is on the road, live from Nathan Phillips Square for a very special edition of Live at 5.
Moments for a truck driver today. This is on Weston Road when the ground literally opened up beneath him.
And Premier Doug Ford pours out a bottle of Crown Royal at a news conference today to show how he feels about Diageo shutting down its Ontario bottling plant.
And back to school, thousands of students, they return to the classroom today.
This is Live at 5, close to home.
Good evening, I'm Bakari Savage.
And I'm Lena Latafat. Thanks so much for joining us tonight, and welcome to Live at 5, close to home. We are coming to you from the heart of downtown Toronto this evening. I gotta say, it feels great to be here. The energy is fabulous, and we're kicking off the first edition of a series of newscasts. This is where we visit a community near you, the viewer.
Okay, so over the next few months, you're gonna see us in your neighborhood where you work, play, and grow, talking about the issues that matter to you. We're going to be joined by special guests throughout this hour, including Mayor Olivia Chow.
Yeah, so stay tuned for those exciting conversations. And speaking of exciting, Bakari, today was certainly very, very special for a number of students, thousands of students, in fact, across Toronto and the GTA. It was back to school.
Yeah, this was the scene outside of Owen Public School. This is in North York. This is where kids from kindergarten to grade 5, they were back in class. Okay, so plenty of parents up bright and early to walk their children to school. Now that summer break's over, so we had a chance to catch up with some. They were near Bloor and Broadview to see how they're feeling about the new school year.
Because it's fun there and I have lots of friends.
Nice.
And it makes me smarter, and I have a bunch of friends that I can play with, and it's like fun, and I love it.
It's complicated, you know. I am new in Canada. We are here only for 3.5 years, and it's a bit complicated, but we used to.
Yeah.
I have to. I don't have another choice.
And with thousands of children walking to and from school starting today, Toronto police are stepping up enforcement across the city. This is to ensure drivers are obeying the rules of the road. And for a closer look at that, we're joined by CP24's crime analyst, Steve Ryan, who's also live on location with us tonight. Steve, so good to sit down with you. And this is a busy day, not only for all of the families, but for Toronto police as well. Give us a sense of what they're keeping an eye on this week.
So today we saw the police taking a proactive approach, reminding drivers that we're back into the school season. So it's easy to be complacent during the summertime. The police are reminding drivers that the little ones will be running about and to just basically slow down when you're going through a school zone, because oftentimes your best defense when somebody appears before your car, especially a little guy, is braking. And the slower you're driving, the more chance you have of minimizing or avoiding a collision from happening altogether.
Okay, so Steve, there's a blitz that's going on. It's going to last for about 10 days.
Yep.
What do people need to know? And it's not just police singling people out, right?
So a blitz happens when the police focus in an area and they do traffic enforcement. And in this particular case, they will do the enforcement. It acts as a reminder to people, and it acts as a deterrent as well. But there's nothing more precious than our kids. So we really need to be very careful, be cautious when we're entering those school zones.
And there's, of course, those speed enforcement cameras in those school zones. That stirred up a lot of controversy, Steve, but they're still in place.
The cameras are still in place. Now remember, with a ticket from a camera in a school zone, the driver does not lose demerit points. It's the registered owner of the vehicle. If the police stop you for a driving infraction when you're driving the vehicle, that could be a heavy fine, and it could be demerit points as well if you're convicted of provincial offences court.
Okay, so Steve, when it comes to the traffic police, how do they look at stopping in areas where you're not supposed to stop at? You know, some parents may not want to wait in the long line. Stop a little bit sooner to drop their kid off.
You know, that's a great question, and you're just reminding me there. So it's not just about driving, it's about parking as well, because there are a lot of prohibited areas around school zones, and they're designed for that very reason. When the kids come running out, if the cars are parked in an illegal area, those kids could run between those cars, and oftentimes they're very difficult to see. That's why minimizing your speed reduces your chances of, heaven forbid, hitting somebody, but also parking your car where it's not supposed to be parked can also add to that possibility of a pedestrian being struck.
And Steve, this week is back to school for so many kids, but over the next couple months, we're going to see a lot of public sector workers, employees at the bank, a lot of people essentially come back downtown 5 days a week. There's going to be a lot of foot traffic, a lot of drivers on the road. What do you want people to know as we gear up for this return to normal?
So you're going to be seeing more cars on the road, more foot traffic, which raises the chances of a collision from happening, whether that be with another car or with a pedestrian. So with this legislation being introduced and with people coming back to work 5 days a week, you're going to see a lot more congestion. So all of us as drivers just need to be that much more cautious.
And see, we're into September 2nd. The days are getting shorter. It's getting darker sooner, and it's not getting light as early. What's your advice to drivers?
Slow down. And I think that was part of the message by the police today, recognizing that we are entering into the fall. It will be darker sooner, but let's not forget, our little precious ones that are running around at school, seeing mom and dad running towards them. You just need to be very careful going through those school zones.
Yeah, it never ever hurts to slow down. Steve Ryan, live on location with us tonight. Steve, we're going to be chatting with you at 5:30 as well, but thanks so much for these tips. I think they're really helpful. We appreciate this.
Slow down.
Thanks, Steve.
Okay.
Okay, and while we're on the subject of traffic, it's 5:06. Let's get a check on the roads with CP24's traffic specialist, Adjoa, and see how you brought. Adj, we beat the commute. We're out of it.
You guys did beat the commute. If you're one of the unlucky drivers, maybe you have to pick up your little ones or you're just trying to get home from work, it's going to take you a while. Things are slowly improving, but if you're headed on the northbound lanes of the Don Valley Parkway, we'll start there. We had these problems. It was on the Queen on-ramp that takes you to the northbound DVP. This issue's been there for over 30 minutes. Stalled vehicle just at the end of the ramp, but at least it's not impacting your drive. Eastbound on the 401 has not been an easy go, really jammed. Starts from the 410, continues to approaching Renforth. Still pretty busy, but we had some problems on the ramp that took you to the northbound 427. Was the left lane that was blocked at the collision. It cleared. That's why it's really, really jammed up. 401 West, no issues, but you can see rush hour has arrived and it's jammed from Vic Park all the way out to Kipling, and also slowdowns on the Gardner exiting the downtown core, approaching York Bay Yonge. Everything seems to open up. Once you pass about Rural York, we have some big problems that I can't see, but I'll mention on the northbound lanes of the 400. This is at Major Mac. Crews on scene of a collision blocking the right lane, and the westbound Major Mac on-ramp to the northbound 400 closed as well.
This CP24 traffic report is brought to you by 407 ETR. Enjoy the journey with a stress-free commute.
Adjoa, thanks so much for this. Increased service has gone into effect today on more than 30 TTC bus routes in the city.
And right now, we're joined live by TTC Chair and Toronto City Councilor for Ward 23, Scarborough North, Jamal Myers. Jamal, thanks a lot for joining us. So this is the first day of school. A lot of people are getting back into routine. How was today? What's the verdict?
I think today was good. I didn't get any emails, no angry letters.
Okay.
It seems like the service is running well, so we're very, very pleased about that.
And you are adding routes. You're increasing service to accommodate all of the kids going back to school and people going back to work as well. Tell us more about that.
So we are increasing service on the 133 Nielsen, which I'm happy to say is in my ward, Ward 23 residents. And so that affects about 10,000 people because we've been having some overcrowding on that. So that'll help the students going to University of Toronto Scarborough as well as the students going to Centennial. We'll also be increasing service on the 512 streetcars, so that will go in the weekdays from once every 8 minutes to once every 6 minutes during the weekday rush hours. So that'll affect about 20,000 of our riders. So we're excited, and then we'll just be returning our regular service for the springtime that people saw during the spring. So we're excited. Like things are moving in the right direction.
Okay, so Jamal, bear with me here. There's been the issue of bunching. We're into a new school year. We can't use the same excuses for being late this year. Let's talk about tardiness and being on time. What is the promise for the TTC this year?
So as you know, we are in the middle of our bus bunching and vehicle bunching pilot. We're tired of seeing the vehicles arriving in packs. So we did some marginal changes and we saw some marginal improvements. What we're really doing is a deep dive and analysis to why the vehicles, streetcars, and buses are bunching, and we'll be reporting in the fall. So far, based on these new changes, we are starting to see like real improvements and real improvements in the service quality that we're offering to the customers.
When we talk about transit delays, I have to be honest, the first thing that pops into my head is the Eglinton Crosstown LRT. Yeah. You know, there was so much talk, Councillor, about, hey, we're looking at a possible September opening. Here we are, it's September 2nd. Yep. We're now being told that's probably not happening. First of all, what is the latest there?
So you're right, that's probably not happening. We still have to do a 30-day non-revenue service where we run the trains back to end to end without passengers for 30 days to sort of try out and test and see if we find any defects. So that's not happening. It won't be a September opening. In terms of what is happening, I understand they're still going through testing. Again, it's not a TTC project. This is really a Metrolinx project. TTC is the operator. We are working with them and supporting them as best we can. But at the end of the day, this has to be delivered by Metrolinx and their contractor.
Councillor, I want you to be critical of the TTC here. What is your hope for the TTC to improve upon as we, look into the last quarter of this year?
So I definitely want us to get better at their overall customer experience. I want people, the way I explain to the staff, I don't want parents to have to think twice about their kids using the TTC. So that means safety, that means reliability, that means cleanliness, that means making sure our employees are ready, willing, and able to help with any customer complaints, making sure that if the kid opens their phone and they're going to be late, that we have proper Wi-Fi service working. So all of that customer experience of making sure it's a good experience that people want to come back.
There's another thing I want to talk to you about tonight, Councillor, and that is fare capping. It's something services, transit systems like Go Transit are already doing. First of all, explain to the average rider what that is and why the TTC is considering it.
So right now you can buy a monthly pass. So you buy the monthly pass and you can use it for that month. Fare capping would say after a certain number of rides, it's free. So it makes it easier for, especially for working people, that they don't have to put up that expense at the beginning of the month. They just use the transit service, and after a certain number of rides, it's free. So essentially what we've done is we've done a very baseline preliminary report, and we found that based on the number of rides you cap it, so the lower you cap it, it'll increase the number of people using the system. So I think what we're trying to do now is, well, how many of those are actually new rides? So if I'm just using the system more, that's not actually providing new revenue to actually provide the service that's going to be required to accommodate these influx of passengers. So what we're going to be doing is sort of a deeper dive into what is actually going to be the consequences of capping the rides, and how much is that going to cost?
Okay. Is that something you support really quickly? Because so many say it's a no-brainer.
It's a no-brainer, but we got to do it well. Okay. So if we have more people using the service, but now the buses are all crowded or the trains are all crowded, that's not really a great service. So it's a no-brainer in terms of, yeah, this is what we want to do, but we actually have to make sure that we're implementing it and doing it properly. So again, going back to that customer experience, it's a good ride.
Okay, TTC Chair and Toronto City Councillor Jamal Myers.
Thank you very so much.
Thank you.
Great to have you on the show tonight. We appreciate this.
Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity.
All right, let's take a look at some of the other headlines making news in our city tonight. A sewage truck driver had to move fast today when he realized the vehicle was breaking through the pavement next to an apartment building on Weston Road.
CP24's Beatrice Zayzoon joins us live right now with more from the scene. Beatrice, you have been covering this all day long, and not only covering it, but covering it from different vantage points. Where are you right now, B?
I've seen this sinkhole, Bakari, Lena, from every single angle at this point. The truck was removed around 3 o'clock this afternoon, but a big gaping hole now in place of it. And really, this is the hole in which the truck was in for several hours from 8 a.m. until 3 p.m. when it was hauled out by a pair of heavy tow trucks. But the damage is quite clear. The debris quite clear that has fallen down into the underground parking below. But picture this, 8 o'clock this morning, this utility truck driver is here maintaining the porta potty, which is right adjacent to the hole, essentially, when he starts to notice cracks forming in the pavement. He told me that he jumped back in the car, in the truck, tried to get out of here as quickly as possible, and he looked back and he noticed that the back of his truck was starting to sink into the pavement. He left the truck running. He got out of it. Thankfully, he's not injured. Some shock, some adrenaline running through his veins, but he's okay. And thankfully, there was no one in the underground garage either, so no injuries to anyone there. And as far as we know, little to no damage to vehicles in the underground as well. I spoke to the district chief with Toronto Fire about what crews encountered when they got here and what he actually heard in his conversation with the truck driver as well.
From the report I had from the driver who was out making a delivery, he felt the back end of the truck just slowly start to sink down. So it was a slow progression into the ground. And luckily nobody underneath it.
Yeah, what causes something like this to happen, Chief?
Well, that's a question better for the engineers, but they're verifying to make sure that the supports underneath were adequate. But I know that vehicles have driven up and down this driveway before, so it's still under investigation.
And it really is going to be up to the engineers, structural engineers, building inspectors, working with the city as well to make sure that it is structurally sound. In the live pictures that we showed you, not only is there a porta potty, but there's also a pretty large construction bin kind of just teetering on the concrete. But this is unnerving to people who live in this building, of course, that suddenly the pavement could just give way and a truck could fall some 8 feet essentially into the P1 level of the underground below. And again, thankfully, no one was injured. But I've been speaking to residents, and they're certainly feeling concerned about what happened. Here's one of them.
I was like, oh my God, my heart started to beat. Yeah, but I'm like, I'm a Christian, and I love God. And I said, God, you know what's best. But the greatest thing, nobody died. Nobody got injured. No ambulance came. No dead body. But vehicles can be replaced, but somebody's life cannot.
That's the truth. I mean, material things, they can be replaced. People cannot be. But certainly when you see the side of a building here being exposed thanks to this pavement giving way, it causes some nerves for people who live in the building. They've been told that they are safe inside. They've been given the all clear to return to their units. They were only evacuated very, very briefly while they were actually hauling the truck out, just as a precaution. But ultimately, the hauling out went off without a hitch. Lena and Bakari, the residents are back in, but they've got questions for their property manager, for the building inspectors, for the engineers about how something like this could happen. I'll send it back to you guys.
Okay. Continuing live coverage from Weston Road, CP24's Patriots Basement B. Thanks a lot. It's 5:17, 24 degrees. This is Live at 5.
And you are watching a special edition of our show. We're calling it Live at 5, close to home. This is where we visit a community near you. More headlines right after this. Stay with us.
Well, thousands of students returned to the classroom today for the first day of school.
Yeah, Toronto Public Health is urging parents and students to update vaccinations for the new school year. And for more on this, we're joined live tonight by Dr. Vinita Dubé, the Associate Medical Officer of Health for Toronto Public Health. Dr. Dubé, it's such a pleasure to have you on, and thanks so much for talking to us. I know a lot of parents will want to be listening in to this conversation. The message from Toronto Public Health seems to be students need to be caught up on their vaccinations. If they're not, they could be looking at a 20-day suspension. First of all, can we talk about the numbers? How many students are not up to date?
In June, we sent out 140,000 letters to students who were not up to date with measles. So there's at least that many parents that we need to hear from to get their kids caught up, according to our records, for measles vaccination.
Dr. Dubé, there are exemptions, right?
If a parent does not want to get their child vaccinated, they need to file an official exemption. Absolutely. No one is forcing their child to get vaccinated.
What do those exemptions look like?
There are philosophical or religious exemptions where you watch a video and get it signed. If you have a medical reason to not get vaccinated, you could get an exemption for that reason. That being said, if someone comes down at the school with measles, even if you have an exemption, you will miss school.
And this is such an interesting time of year, right? The weather's just about to change. We're seeing so many kids back in the classroom, runny noses, you know, that flu and virus season about to begin. What are you watching for, specifically when it comes to the spread of measles?
The measles numbers have been stable through the summer, but we know that kids were not in school. And we know that if measles comes into a school, it can spread rapidly. We saw that in the spring. Yeah. So that's really one thing that we want to prevent. But the vaccines also protect against other serious infections like meningitis or whooping cough. And those we know can spread in schools, and so we want to protect against those as well.
Okay, Dr. Dubé, a lot of talk about measles, you know, which is fair. What else is on your radar that parents should be aware of, as we go into the new school year?
We know that kids are going to come home with runny noses, sniffles, right? That can be expected as they go indoors and as the weather gets colder. And around the corner, we can expect flu vaccines, COVID vaccines will be coming for those children that want to receive it. We need to actually think about what we can do to prevent those sniffles and keep those viruses at bay.
And when it comes to enforcing the vaccination rules in Toronto schools, what is that process going to look like, Doctor?
We will be sending out notifications in the fall to students in grades 2 to 5 who are not up to date with their vaccinations. So if you get a letter, please respond right away, because later on in the school year, your child could be suspended if after multiple notices they are not caught or up to date with either their vaccinations or an exemption.
And doctor, as we wrap up, what about those common stomach viruses that a lot of kids get in classrooms? What do you want to say to parents?
Wash your hands, right? Don't share foods. Actually, it can spread close person to person. So if you're sick, keep your child at home as well.
Okay, Dr. Vanita Dubé with Toronto Public Health. Thank you so much for this conversation. We so appreciate your time tonight. We appreciate this.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks a lot, Dr. Dubé. And again, right now it's 5:23, 24 degrees. This is Live at 5.
And you're watching a special edition of our show. We're calling it Live at 5, close to home. We're coming to you live from the heart of downtown Toronto here at Nathan Phillips Square. And the plan is to visit a community near you over the next couple of months. So stay tuned. And we have more conversations coming up right after this. We'll be right back. Welcome back. The CNE is over for another year, and organizers are making sure food left over from the event does not go to waste.
Yeah, the X partnered with Second Harvest to rescue more than 25,000 pounds of surplus produce, canned goods, and other items. They did that today. It's going to be donated to communities that are experiencing food insecurity. So this is the second time that the CNE has teamed up with Second Harvest to keep leftover food from being thrown out. And the fair says that the initiative is part of its commitment to being environmentally friendly and helping those in need.
Making sure all that food does not go to waste. What a fabulous idea.
Second Harvest does an incredible job, right? I mean, we have a lot of folks who are food insecure, who need to have access to food, so it's a logical partnership. We were looking at how we reduce our footprint and waste, and food is such a huge component of who we are, but there's a bigger story than food than eating it. It's also access to food, connection to food, reduction of food waste, making sure that everybody in the city has what they need. And so we want to be part of that solution.
It's incredibly dire right across the country. I mean, I think this is the third year in a row where we've seen food insecurity rates climb across the entire country. In Toronto, it's 1 in 4 households that struggle with food insecurity. So there is a very dire need for food support right across the city. We're doing our part in partnership with the CNE to try and get that food support and that hunger relief to community partners right across the city.
Second Harvest says the food collected today will start being distributed to community partners as early as tomorrow.
Right now it's 5:27, 24 degrees. This is Live at 5.
And we are coming to you live from a special location tonight. We're here in the heart of downtown Toronto, broadcasting live from Nathan Phillips Square for a special edition of our show. Stay with us. More to come. We're chatting with Toronto's Mayor Olivia Chow next.
We're bringing our newsroom to a community near you. CP24 is on the road tonight. Right now, we are live from Nathan Phillips Square for a special edition of Live at 5.
And some scary moments for a truck driver today on Weston Road, when the ground literally opened up beneath him. We'll tell you more about what happened.
And Premier Doug Ford pours out a bottle of Crown Royal. This happened at a news conference today to show how he feels about Diageo shutting down its Ontario bottling plant.
And back to school, and thousands of students return to the classroom today. We're talking to Mayor Olivia Chow about that in just moments.
This is Live at 5.
Hey, good evening, and thanks so much for joining us. I'm Lena Latifat.
I'm Bakari Savage. Welcome to Live at 5, close to home. We're coming to you from the heart of downtown Toronto this evening, kicking off the first edition of a series of newscasts where we visit a community near you.
Yeah, over the next couple months, you're going to see us in your neighborhood. This is where you work, play, and grow, and we are going to be talking about the issues that matter to you. We are going to be joined by special guests throughout this half hour, including our conversation with Mayor Olivia Chow, which begins in just moments.
Well, today was the first day of school for thousands of students all across Toronto and the GTA.
Yeah, this was a scene outside Owen Public School in North York, where kids from kindergarten to grade 5 were back in class.
I like math and all that stuff.
I dig it. Are you ready for all the compliments your jacket's gonna get?
Not really.
Did you dress yourself?
No. Actually, yes.
I get pumped for it. I get excited, and then it makes them excited.
How do you get, you're just naturally excited, or how do you get excited?
I'm just naturally excited for the first day of school.
Why?
It's like because I feel like a kid again. Yeah.
I dig it. As a pop. Most wonderful time of the year.
And a lot of parents were up bright and early to walk their children to school. Now that summer break's over, we actually had a chance to catch up with some of them. This is near Bloor and Broadview to see how they're feeling about the new school year. Okay.
All right.
Well, right now, thousands of Torontonians have returned to their routine today. This is after the last long weekend of the summer. Right now, we're joined live by Toronto Mayor Olivia Chow. Mayor Chow, thank you very much for taking time to speak with us. Listen, I got to start off with this. Today was the first day of school. Let's talk about this on a personal note. How was today for you? I know you have your grandkids. You saw them off. Did you make breakfast?
Oh, God, no. Hey, welcome to Nathan Phillips Square.
Thank
This
you.
is where
It's good to be
things
here.
happen here. Yeah, it's a beautiful place. And in 5:37, all kids are mostly back home and safe and sound, which is exactly what we want today. The message is about drive carefully, keep an eye on the kids, and train the kids to be mindful. But for the drivers, don't get distracted. Don't get distracted on your phone. Check your blind spot. When the stop sign says stop, do stop, and do not speed. Do not break the speed limit. We're going to ticket you. And we want to thank the 900 crossing guards at all these intersections that keep all our kids safe. It's really wonderful.
Very important.
Yes.
Mayor, this is an exciting day for so many families in our city. But for one particular family, this has been a day of heartbreak. And I'm thinking of the family of Javay Roy, the 8-year-old in North York who was struck by a stray bullet. He was in his bed sleeping. What is your message? First of all, I've been thinking about Javay all day long. I think there's so many people in our city who are thinking about this young boy who does not get to go back to school. That is so heartbreaking. What is your message to his mother and so many in our city who are concerned about the senseless gun violence?
Yeah, I know. I was thinking about Holly, Mom, and we had a memorial right here in Nathan Phillips Square. I can just see the spot where Mom and the family and the brothers and sisters and all of us gathered to say we will not forget Javay. We will not forget his smile. His smile and his message, be nice, don't bully. And I think that's the message that we could, even though Javay is not with us anymore, that we could take that spirit of being kind and caring for each other, but also in many ways, justice means different things. It means bringing the person to justice, okay, the person who did the shooting. And also it means that getting those illegal American guns out of the street and working with our young people to help them find hope and jobs and great learning, have fun in school, so they don't pick up the guns in the first place. So those are things that we promised Mom, Holly, and as we remember the sadness, but also Javay's smile, let us remember his spirit lives on, and let us make a promise that we will make sure justice is served.
And, Mayor Chow, when it comes to safety, especially safety in the classroom, there's the issue of school resource officers, both sides of the argument, one saying that, there's student intimidation. And then the other is just basic safety in the classroom, not only for students, but teachers. What is the answer?
Well, the answer lies in the teacher, the principal, the schools, the students, and the parents, because I believe that local decision making is very important. So it really, the key thing is that there are enough officers, neighborhood officers. Now, neighborhood officers are really popular because they don't just catch criminals, they actually prevent crime from happening. They work very closely with the businesses, with the residents, with schools, with teachers, and with young people to prevent crime. Those we need, and they are not in every division. In the past, there were, and then it got cut in the last, 10 years. And because the police are saying we need a stable number of officers being hired every year. So what we've done at City is we are giving the police a 5-year staffing plan, 360 officers being hired every year, which means they can deploy officer in a steady way into the neighborhoods, perhaps whichever the neighborhood wants, and how they could work with the officer and prevent crime.
I know we're talking about back to school, but it's also back to work.
Yes.
For so many. And I'm talking about,
yes, all of us.
I'm talking about the people that are being instructed to go back to the office 5 days a week, Mayor. As you
Yes.
know, like Toronto's about to get a lot busier, and we already, it's a brutal drive as it is.
Yes.
We're hearing from
Yes.
traffic experts who are saying this is going to make Toronto's traffic woes so much worse. Are you not worried about that? Like, what is the plan?
Well, the plan is more public transit, right? And if you're looking, and if we can make, let's say, Dufferin and Bathurst Street more reliable and faster for the bus, people that ride the bus and the streetcars on Bathurst and also on Dufferin, those capture thousands and thousands of riders every hour. And we could really move people a lot faster if the bus has its own lane. So when you have faster, more reliable services, more riders are going to go on to take the TTC, meaning there'll be less traffic. And I think ultimately that's the solution.
Is that enough, though?
Well,
Do you
not
think
just on
that's
those
enough?
streets. Like, I think we need to look at ways to increase TTC services, which we started. There are 32 bus routes that have more service starting today because the fall announcement. Every fall we increase the service of TTC. We can't wait for the Eglinton Crosstown LRT to open up. Then a lot more people would have the alternatives of not having to drive. And if more parents walk their kids, right now about a third of them walk their kids, about 43% drive. And if we can get more people walking their kids, then or take the school bus or walk together to school, then you will have less traffic on the road.
Okay. On the first day back at school, Toronto Mayor Olivia Chow.
It's
Mayor Chow.
exciting
Thanks so
to
much.
be back.
So appreciate this, and it's been good to chat with you. We appreciate this, and we'll talk very soon.
Thank you.
Well, also, we're hearing from the family of the man killed in a home invasion in Vaughan. This is as Premier Doug Ford calls for changes to the criminal justice system.
Yeah, let's go live now to CP24's Melissa dug in for the very latest on the Premier's comments. Melissa.
Yeah, Lena and Bakari, new tonight. We are also hearing from the family of the man who was killed in this violent home invasion. It happened behind me here at this home in Vaughan. Sunday. When officers arrived, they found a man inside suffering from trauma to his body. He was pronounced dead at the scene. Police now looking for at least 3 suspects. CTV News sitting down with the man's brother today. The victim in this case has been identified as 46-year-old Abdul Alim Farouki. His brother saying that his brother was killed protecting his children and his wife who were inside their home. Have a listen.
They're devastated. I think what's unfolded, I think any family anywhere in Canada is thinking the same thing, that, can they go home and lock their door and feel safe at night? I think there's people that represent us, our interest in government, that need to recognize that enough is enough. No one's feeling safe anymore.
Coverings, police describing this as a targeted incident. We are getting a reaction from Premier Doug Ford today as well. He's calling this situation heart-wrenching.
Innocent man got his doors kicked in the middle of the night. 4 people went in there. His 3 kids are there, his wife. Had a gun to one of the kids. He went to go protect him, and these scumbags shot him right in front of his kids. Shot him dead twice. Just imagine, what the trauma these kids are going to go through for the rest of their lives.
We're also hearing from Vaughan Mayor Stephen Del Duca today. He posted a statement that says, "I've had the chance to hear directly from family and those close friends of Aleem, and my heart breaks for what they have all been forced to endure since his murder. The deplorable criminals need to be captured and face swift and harsh punishment. Our federal and provincial governments need to stop pointing fingers at each other and fix our criminal justice system now. This despicable act should have never happened and is an epic failure on the part of many political leaders that has brought us to this sad moment in Canada." Police are appealing to anyone who has any information that could help them in this investigation to reach out to them, to reach out to Crime Stoppers. And Bakari and Lena, we are expecting an update on this tomorrow. The chief of York Regional Police is set to hold a news conference at 10 a.m. He's expected to give updates on a number of criminal investigations that are currently underway, including this one. Back to you.
All right, Melissa, thanks so much. It's 5:47, 24 degrees, but it's feeling more like 26 out there. Gorgeous day. You're watching Live at 5.
And you're watching a special edition of our show. We're calling it Live at 5, closer to home. This is where we visit a community near you. More headlines right after this. Well, thousands of students returned to the classroom today. This is for the first day of school.
It's a return to routine for so many families. And for tips on how to get the school year off to a really good start, we're joined live by parenting expert Vivian Meraki. Vivian, great to sit down with you. We had you on our show last week, and it was a fabulous conversation about how to deal with the back-to-school jitters. We talked about how that is a very real thing. What is your message to parents and students on this first week back to school?
I would say that the most important thing with the first week back is about easing into the transition. It's not about getting it perfect, and it's about building connection. So more space, more time for connection will help overall in the long term with reducing anxiety.
Why is routine important?
So routine is because it's expected. And part of what happens with our nervous systems is that when there's unexpected things and we get worried, our bodies don't know the difference between a lion chasing us down a field versus what's happening with not knowing what's going to come up at school. So I talk to parents a lot and clients that I work with about working with our nervous systems rather than against it. And routine and knowing what's going to happen next can help reduce a lot of that anxiety.
I have so many nieces and nephews who are talking to me about back to school. And one of the things I hear a lot is I'm nervous about my teacher. It's a new teacher. I don't know what to expect. Are they going to be nice? Will they be mean? And it's stuff like that weighs on the minds of so many kids, right? They're anxious about the unknown. First of all, how do you know that is something potentially bothering your child? And then how do you talk to them about it?
So something that I talk to a lot of parents about is 2 types of routines. There's routines that support them when they're doing really well, but there's also routines that help to support them when they're not doing well. And the routines you set up when they're doing well help to prepare them when they're not doing well. So something that I really encourage parents and my clients to do is something I call the 10-minute heart-to-heart. So set aside 10 minutes with each child, no devices, no distractions, nothing, and just spend that time with the intention of connecting and understanding them and getting to know them. So you're asking questions like, what was your favorite thing today? What happened that was surprising to you? What did you like? What didn't like? You know, things like that to understand. And what that does is that when things are not going well, it gives you those cues to look for of things that are an anomaly and things that are a little bit different. So when they're withdrawn, they don't want to talk, but basically it's behavior and you know your child best where there's something that is different from the norm.
Right.
You know, when it comes to anxiety, it can stem from a lot of things, like a test, you know, sitting with the right people at lunch, and also bullying. How do you deal with that? How do you try to soothe that?
So it's really difficult, I would say. Every child wants to build connection and a sense of belonging, because we're hardwired for belonging. And so when bullying happens for parents, that can bring up a lot for them as well. And the most important thing is identifying it, talking to school, working with the school, and working with their child, validating what they're feeling rather than bypassing or trying to move through it. We move towards the anxiety and the emotions that they're feeling, talking about what are you feeling that makes sense. That would be hard for me too. That sounds like a good reason to be sad, and validate that, and that allows them to feel seen, heard, understood, and that they matter.
And before we let you go, Vivian, you're going to do something cool for us. You're going to share with parents and students a somatic exercise that can sort of calm their nerves. First of all, what is a somatic exercise, and then tell us how it works.
Sure.
And we'll try to do it with you, maybe.
Yeah, absolutely. So somatics is a practice of getting in touch with our body and the aliveness that exists within us. And because of the way that we're wired, a lot of times the nervous system is actually wired from body to brain rather than vice versa. So that's why when we have stress, it's actually not through talking or through the brain, it's through the body that can help calm us down. So a lot of deep breathing can help, and it's because it's somatic. But what we'll do today is really, really simple. Okay. And it's something that I call the palm press. And we can do it together.
Okay,
or
let's do it together,
like
yeah.
this. So you can go with each other if you want, and push against palms
against.
together,
B?
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, walk us
I'll
through
do
this.
it myself.
Okay,
and
sure.
Just press against each other's palms.
Okay.
Like that.
Yep.
And push really hard.
Okay.
And then that's it. And you'll notice that what that does is it signals to your body that it has more stability, more security, and you feel a little bit more grounded after.
Yeah, Lena's a lot stronger than I thought. All right.
Wow, that was
well
very
done.
cool. Thank you so much. I feel
pleasure.
relaxed already. Parenting expert Vivian Meraki, thank you so much for breaking down this excellent advice for us. We so appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Thank you very much. That was called again the...
I call it the palm press.
The palm
press. Okay.
Thanks a lot. It's 5:55, 24 degrees. This is Live at 5.
And you're watching a special edition of our show. We're calling it Live at 5, Close to Home, where we visit a community near you. We'll tell you more about that, and we'll have more headlines right after this. Stay with us. Welcome back. Premier Doug Ford is making his feelings known about a decision by the parent company of Crown Royal to shut down its Ontario bottling plant.
I get the companies move back and forth, but what I don't get, when you're someone's largest customer in North America, you're going after the largest customer. You know something? I always say smart people aren't too smart, and you guys are about as dumb as a bag of hammers for doing this. So, you know something? I found a bottle, and I don't even drink, of Crown Royal, right? I see that Crown Royal. I saw it at home. So this is what I think about Crown Royal.
Well, the plant near Windsor is slated to close next year, with some operations shifting to the U.S. and some to Quebec. Now, Ford says that the move is going to cost the town around 200 jobs. Right now, it is 5:58, 24 degrees. This is Toronto's Breaking News, CP24.
Well, thank you so much for joining us tonight, for watching our special edition of Live at 5, Close to Home. We've been broadcasting live from Nathan Phillips Square here in downtown Toronto, just steps from Toronto City Hall. Thanks so much for joining us. CTV News at 6 is coming up next.